Our generation ship was to travel hundreds of years across the stars so we could build a new world for humanity. We had tried to restore Earth's ravaged ecology. The desperate solution nearly wiped us out instead. And now it's on the ship. And it's growing. There are only a few thousand of us left, and we cannot repeat the past. In our ship's closed ecosystems, resources are finite. Nothing can go to waste. Every bit of scrap needs to be salvaged, reclaimed, and repurposed into what we need to survive. Materials, food, water, air. We might not always work well with each other. We might squabble, we might stumble, but we are all we have. As we're building a balanced ecosystem, years will go by like minutes. We must adapt to each other and to the unknown. We're not just learning to build a sustainable future. Everyone on board is living their own story, and your story will be different from mine. Can we escape the mistakes that drove us from our home? Because every decision we make now will determine if humanity earns a second chance.
Generation Exile is a sustainable solarpunk city builder with a reactive emergent narrative that changes every single time the game is played. You are aboard a generation ship traveling for several hundred years, leaving a ecologically ravaged Earth behind, attempting to find a new home for humanity. And so rather than repeat the failings of Earth in the past, you need to find a new way to develop a society that is sustainable and can thrive.
Your job is to make sure that you shepherd humanity successfully to the destination planet and that they live to get there and there's enough people to keep humanity going.
Players' goals differ a bit from traditional recognizable city builders, where yes, you're still having to provide the basics for your society, food, shelter, clean water, but there's kind of this unquestioned notion that we see both in a lot of strategy games, but also just in the world around us, where it's like, oh, well, when we need more resources, we can just keep extracting, we can just keep growing and growing and growing. It's simply not possible to keep expanding forever. And that is a thematic element of the game for sure, but part of that has come from just looking at the industry around us, where all the goals are just like, what are the returns for the next quarter? We see the harm that is caused by that single-minded focus on how can we extract as much value in the short term. And the people who are harmed the most by that are the thousands of people who in the last 6-8 months have lost their jobs, right? So as you make your way through the game and progress through the game, rather than just infinitely getting bigger, it's about becoming more regenerative, to use only what you have around you because there's no external source of anything else.
Fundamentally, you're on a spaceship. You got what you got.
What we wanted to achieve is to take a relatively recognizable set of city building mechanic, but having more narrative and story elements there as well. Because the thing that is so rich about city builders is that they're so systems dense, and that game state is all very much driven by the choices and decisions that the player is making. But the opportunity then we saw is to look at all that in the city building layer game state, and then
drag it out into the narrative,
exactly.
Kicking and screaming.
but in a good way.
In a good way.
Where rather than just everyone's gonna play through the game and at turn 15 this thing happens, then at turn 25 this thing happens. Instead, you can just have authored narrative events that are reactive to whatever choices you've made, like weird ecology things that are occurring aboard the vessel, or
they're situations,
crises.
Yeah.
Small and large. We're able to provide the player the ability to make consequential specific decisions that are divorced from just the pure systems of the game, which then informs the events that will occur in the future, so that at the end, there will be echoes of the decisions you've made along the way. It should feel like the journey to get there is one that you uniquely experience, and the conditions that you finish with are ones that are reactive to all the decisions you made leading up to that point. The game can be wish-listed right now on Steam, and folks can also just go to sonderluststudios.com to sign up for our newsletter and learn more as we roll things out. There'll be more delicious tidbits in there
Will they be delicious?
They'll be delicious.
How delicious?
Delectable.